Shocking soulmate warning. The third party knows why your soulmate wants to return, but they're hiding the truth from you. My beloved child, there is something you need to understand before you react to anything you may hear, see, or discover about your soulmate. The situation may be far more complicated than it appears on the surface. Someone connected to your soulmate may know a truth that they have not wanted you to discover. The third party may understand exactly why your soulmate has been thinking about returning, and that knowledge may be making them increasingly uncomfortable. My beloved child, this is not a message asking you to chase your soulmate or interfere with anyone's relationship. It is a message about clarity, self-respect, and understanding why hidden emotions can create complicated situations. There are moments when a person appears to have moved forward, yet their heart continues looking backward. There are moments when someone smiles, continues their routine, talks to people, and acts as though everything is normal, while privately carrying questions they cannot answer. Your soulmate may be experiencing that kind of internal conflict. And the third party may have noticed it before you ever could. My beloved child, perhaps the third party knows that your soulmate did not simply walk away because the connection had no meaning. Perhaps they know there were unresolved feelings. Perhaps they know your soulmate has compared the emotional connection they share now with what they experienced with you. Perhaps they have seen your soulmate become unusually quiet when memories of you appear. Perhaps they have heard your name mentioned and noticed an emotional reaction that could not be hidden. The third party may know that your soulmate's heart has not been completely settled. And this is why they may be hiding the truth. They may believe that if you discover how strongly your soulmate still feels, you will become a threat to the life they are trying to protect. But my beloved child, you are not required to become anyone's enemy. You do not need to fight. You do not need to prove anything. If something is genuine, it will eventually reveal itself through consistent actions. My beloved child, there may be a secret reason your soulmate wants to return that has little to do with loneliness and much more to do with realization. Sometimes a person leaves a meaningful connection because they believe they can find something easier. They believe distance will solve the emotional complications. They believe time will erase attachment. They believe another person can provide the comfort they need. But after enough time passes, they may begin comparing the present to what they once had. And comparison can reveal truths that avoidance successfully hid. Your soulmate may have discovered that something important was missing. Perhaps it was emotional understanding. Perhaps it was trust. Perhaps it was the way you made them feel seen. Perhaps it was simply the sense that they could be themselves around you. My beloved child, people often do not recognize the value of emotional safety until they experience its absence. Your soulmate may have realized that the connection with you contains something they could not reproduce elsewhere. And the third party may know this. That knowledge could explain why they are anxious. They may fear that if your soulmate speaks honestly with you, the entire situation will change. So they may hide information, minimize your importance, or convince your soulmate that the past should remain buried. They may say that you have moved on. They may say you do not care anymore. They may claim that returning to you would create unnecessary complications. They may remind your soulmate of every difficult moment between you. But notice what happens when someone constantly tries to prevent another person from exploring a question. Usually, the question becomes even stronger. My beloved child, your soulmate may now be asking themselves why they still want to know how you are doing. Why they still wonder whether you think about them. Why they still imagine conversations that never happened. Why they still replay old moments. Why they still feel emotionally unsettled even though they have tried to move forward. These questions can become impossible to ignore. And perhaps the third party has noticed that. Perhaps they have asked your soulmate directly, do you still have feelings for them? Maybe your soulmate avoided answering. Maybe they changed the subject. Maybe they became defensive. My beloved child, sometimes defensiveness reveals that a subject is emotionally powerful. It does not automatically prove what someone feels, but it can show that something unresolved exists. Your soulmate may not yet have the courage to explain it. But the third party may already understand. And that is why they may be hiding the truth from you. My beloved child, there is another possibility you must understand. The third party may not be hiding the truth because they are evil. They may be acting from insecurity, fear, jealousy, or a desire to protect what they believe is theirs. Human beings often behave poorly when they are afraid of losing something important. That does not excuse manipulation or dishonesty, but understanding the motivation can help you avoid becoming emotionally trapped in the drama. You do not need to hate anyone. You do not need to wish harm upon anyone. You simply need to protect your boundaries. My beloved child, the most important thing is not whether the third party is afraid. The most important thing is what your soulmate chooses to do with those feelings. If your soulmate truly wants to return, they must take responsibility for their choices. They cannot expect you to carry the emotional burden of their indecision. They cannot ask you to wait indefinitely while they remain trapped between two lives. They must eventually become clear. My beloved child, clarity is not always comfortable, but confusion has a cost. You have already experienced enough uncertainty. You do not need more hidden conversations, secret signals, or endless guessing. If your soulmate approaches you, let them speak clearly. If they say they miss you, ask what they intend to do. If they say they regret the past, ask what has changed. If they say they want another chance, ask whether they are ready to build something different. Words can open the door, but actions determine whether someone walks through it. My beloved child, the third party may know why your soulmate wants to return, but their knowledge does not give them control over your future. They may know that your soulmate regrets something. They may know that your soulmate still thinks about you. They may know that certain memories continue to affect them. They may even know that your soulmate has considered contacting you. But none of this becomes your responsibility. Let your soulmate own their truth. Let them decide what to do with it. You do not need to rescue them from their situation. My beloved child, perhaps the hidden truth is simply that your soulmate finally understands what they lost. Perhaps they once believed you would always be there. Perhaps they thought they could leave and return whenever they wanted. Perhaps they assumed your love was guaranteed. But time may have shown them that people change. You changed. Your boundaries changed. Your expectations changed. And now they may be realizing that returning to you is not as simple as saying, "I miss you." They may need to rebuild trust. They may need to explain their choices. They may need to accept that you are no longer the same person they left behind. My beloved child, this can be a powerful turning point. Because genuine love does not demand that you return to an old version of yourself. Genuine love must meet you where you are now. If your soulmate comes back, they should be prepared to meet the stronger, wiser, more self-aware version of you. They should understand that your heart is valuable. They should not expect instant access simply because they finally feel ready. The third party may be afraid of this because they know your soulmate will have to make a serious decision. If your soulmate chooses to approach you, they cannot pretend nothing happened. They must confront the truth. They must explain what happened. They must acknowledge the pain. And perhaps this is exactly what they have been avoiding. My beloved child, there may be a hidden conversation in which the third party tells your soulmate that returning to you would be disastrous. They may say, you will regret it. They may say, they will hurt you again. They may say, you cannot trust them. But perhaps your soulmate has begun asking a different question: what if I regret never trying again? That question can be powerful. Sometimes people fear the pain of returning more than they fear the pain of permanent loss. But eventually, the fear of regret can become stronger than the fear of change. My beloved child, if your soulmate reaches that point, they may begin behaving differently. They may become more reflective. They may withdraw from unnecessary conversations. They may start reviewing old decisions. They may look at old photographs or messages. They may wonder what you are doing now. They may quietly ask mutual acquaintances about you. They may think about sending a message and then stop themselves. They may type something and delete it. They may begin writing an apology but struggle to find the right words. These are possible signs of internal conflict, but remember, my beloved child, do not turn every ordinary event into proof of a reunion. Stay grounded. Your peace should not depend on interpreting every coincidence. Wait for direct, respectful communication. My beloved child, the truth you deserve is not hidden forever. What is real does not need to remain secret indefinitely. If your soulmate genuinely wants to return, there will eventually be a moment when hiding becomes more painful than speaking. They will have to decide whether they are willing to be honest. And that decision belongs to them. You cannot make it for them. The third party cannot permanently make it for them either. Pressure can delay a decision, but it cannot create authentic love. My beloved child, this is why you should not compete. Competition makes you forget your own value. If someone needs to compare you with another person before deciding whether you matter, step back. You are not an option on a shelf. You are a human being with a heart, a history, and boundaries. Let people approach you with respect. Let them demonstrate maturity. Let them show that they understand what they are asking for. My beloved child, perhaps your soulmate has finally discovered that the reason they want to return is not because life with the third party is difficult, but because something inside them remains connected to what they shared with you. That distinction matters. If they return only because another relationship failed, you deserve to know. If they return because they genuinely recognize the value of your connection and are ready to rebuild, that is different. Do not accept a temporary escape disguised as a permanent commitment. Your heart deserves better. My beloved child, you may soon receive information that changes how you understand the past. Perhaps something you believed was rejection was actually fear. Perhaps something you believed was indifference was emotional confusion. Perhaps something you believed was closure was actually avoidance. But even if you discover these things, do not allow them to erase your own experience. You were still hurt. You still deserved communication. You still deserved respect. Understanding why someone hurt you does not mean you have to excuse what happened. Forgiveness and reconciliation are not the same thing. My beloved child, if your soulmate returns, you can forgive without immediately reopening every door. You can listen without surrendering your boundaries. You can care without abandoning yourself. This is the maturity you have developed through everything you have experienced. The third party may know a truth, but you now know something too. Your peace is priceless. My beloved child, perhaps the third party has been telling your soulmate that you have forgotten them. Maybe they say you have someone else. Maybe they claim you no longer care. Why would they say such things? Because uncertainty can be easier to control when someone believes the door is already closed. If your soulmate believes you no longer care, they may stay where they are. But if they discover that the emotional connection was not as easily erased as they were told, they may begin questioning everything. My beloved child, never allow someone else's version of you to define you. If your soulmate wants to know how you feel, they should speak to you directly. If they want answers, they should ask you. If they want reconciliation, they should approach you respectfully. Third-party interpretations are not a substitute for honest communication. My beloved child, the hidden truth may eventually come through a simple conversation. Your soulmate might say, "There is something I never told you." Those words can carry enormous emotional weight. But when that moment comes, do not rush to fill the silence. Let them speak. Let them finish. You may hear an explanation you expected, or you may hear something completely different. Either way, listen from a calm place. You do not need to decide everything in one conversation. My beloved child, you have the right to take your time. You have the right to say, "I need time to process this." You have the right to ask questions. You have the right to observe whether their behavior matches their explanation. A true reconciliation can survive thoughtful questions. A false one often depends on emotional pressure. So do not be afraid to slow down. My beloved child, if the third party has been hiding the truth, their strategy may eventually fail because secrets become difficult to maintain when emotions become stronger. Your soulmate may reveal something unintentionally. A friend may say something. A conversation may expose a contradiction. A message may surface. Again, do not chase secrets. You do not need to become a detective. Let people reveal themselves naturally. The truth that arrives without you destroying your peace is more valuable than an answer obtained through obsession. My beloved child, perhaps the greatest surprise will be discovering that your soulmate's desire to return is connected to a realization about themselves. Maybe being away from you forced them to confront their own patterns. Maybe they recognized that they ran whenever intimacy became serious. Maybe they realized that they allowed fear to make decisions for them. Maybe they discovered that they were trying to please everyone except themselves. And perhaps now they want to make a different choice. If that is true, the change must be visible. Growth is not a speech. Growth is behavior repeated over time. My beloved child, do not be impressed by one emotional night if the next morning brings the same old behavior. Look for consistency. Look for honesty. Look for accountability. Look for patience. Look for willingness to repair what was broken. If your soulmate is serious, they will understand why you need proof. They will not demand immediate trust. They will earn it. My beloved child, the third party may be hiding the truth because they know your soulmate is not completely satisfied with the life they currently have. But remember, dissatisfaction alone does not guarantee a reunion. Your soulmate must make their own decisions responsibly. Do not build your hopes on someone else's unhappiness. Build your hopes on healthy possibilities. If they return, let it be because they have consciously chosen a better path, not because they are simply escaping discomfort. My beloved child, this distinction can protect your heart. You do not want someone who runs toward you every time life becomes difficult and away from you whenever fear appears. You want someone capable of staying, communicating, and solving problems. You want someone who chooses you not only during emotional highs but also during difficult moments. That is real partnership. That is what deserves your energy. My beloved child, the third party may believe they know the future, but nobody knows the future with certainty. They may threaten consequences. They may predict disaster. They may tell your soulmate that choosing you will ruin everything. But sometimes people call something ruin simply because it destroys the arrangement that benefited them. A change can feel like destruction to someone who benefited from the old situation. Your soulmate must decide what kind of life they want. And you must decide what kind of love you will accept. My beloved child, there is a quiet strength in refusing to participate in unnecessary drama. You do not need to answer every rumor. You do not need to respond to every provocation. You do not need to prove your innocence to people committed to misunderstanding you. Let your character speak through your consistency. Let your life speak through your peace. Let your actions show who you are. My beloved child, if the truth is eventually revealed, you may feel a mixture of relief and sadness. Relief because you finally understand. Sadness because you may realize how much time was lost. Do not punish yourself for the past. You made the best decisions you could with the information you had at the time. Your soulmate did the same, even if some choices caused pain. Now the question is what everyone does with the lessons learned. My beloved child, perhaps the hidden truth is opening the door to a new chapter, but a new chapter does not have to repeat the old one. If you and your soulmate reconnect, create new patterns. Speak openly. Set boundaries. Discuss expectations. Do not rely on assumptions. Do not make each other guess. Do not allow third parties to become the source of communication between you. A healthy relationship requires directness. My beloved child, the third party may know why your soulmate wants to return, but you do not need to know every secret to know what you deserve. You deserve honesty. You deserve respect. You deserve a relationship that does not make you feel like a hidden option. You deserve someone who can say, without fear, I choose you. And if someone cannot say that clearly, you have permission to step back. Your heart is not a waiting room. My beloved child, perhaps this message found you at a time when you were about to give up. Perhaps you have been telling yourself that it is impossible. Perhaps you have been trying to convince yourself that the connection meant nothing. Maybe you are tired of waiting. If so, do not force yourself to wait. Live. Grow. Heal. Build your future. If your soulmate returns, they will find you living rather than frozen in time. That is a powerful position. My beloved child, your life must not become a countdown to someone else's decision. You are allowed to enjoy your days. You are allowed to laugh. You are allowed to dream. You are allowed to meet people. You are allowed to focus on your purpose. You are allowed to move forward while still carrying love in your heart. Moving forward does not always mean forgetting. Sometimes it means refusing to let uncertainty control your life. My beloved child, perhaps the third party's greatest fear is that your soulmate will finally understand that they cannot be forced to stop loving someone. Perhaps they know that your soulmate has tried to bury these feelings and failed. Perhaps they know that the more pressure they apply, the more your soulmate questions the relationship. Pressure can create the very distance it was designed to prevent. My beloved child, do not beg.